go down, sun come up, now worry stop it, don't West Papua. Sun go down, sun come up, now worry stop it, don't West Papua. Only like in freedom, yeah, freedom, long West Papua. All one thought belong to me. Only run away about. Now I long big boost, only like in freedom, beside by Halimo. Only run away about. Now I long big boost, only like in freedom, beside by Harimo. Only like in freedom, yeah, freedom, long West Papua. All one thought belong to me. Only like in freedom, yeah, freedom, long West Papua. All one thought belong to me. Giving freedom, yeah, freedom to West Papua. All one thought belong to me. Giving freedom, yeah, freedom to West Papua. All one thought belong to me. Giving freedom, yeah, freedom to West Papua. All one thought belong to me.
Madam President, decolonization and human rights are both important issues in the Pacific Island region. I strongly affirm the position of the Pacific Island Forum leaders in recognizing the constructive engagement by Forum countries with Indonesia with respect to elections and human rights in West Papua, and the commitment to continue dialogue in an open and constructive manner.
Likewise, we believe the United Nations must also engage with the people of West Papua to find lasting solutions to their struggles.
Madame la Présidente, depuis la création des Nations Unies, quelques 750 millions de personnes représentant plus de 80 anciennes colonies ont accédé à l'indépendance politique. Par contre, la situation désespérée de millions d'autres aspirants à l'autodétermination subsiste aujourd'hui. Le Vanuatu attache une importance capitale aux travaux de la Commission spéciale sur la décolonisation. L'élimination de toutes les formes du colonialisme doit demeurer une priorité première à l'ordre du jour de l'ONU dans l'esprit de la Charte des Nations Unies. La Nouvelle-Calédonie est sur la voie de décider son destin politique par le biais d'un référendum qui aura lieu le 4 novembre 2018. Nous faisons appel à la communauté internationale de soutenir le droit du peuple de la Nouvelle-Calédonie de participer pleinement à ce référendum et surtout de veiller à ce qu'il se déroule de manière libre et juste. Madame la Présidente, la communauté internationale est témoin des violences et d'abus des droits de l'homme dont les ressortissants de la population occidentale en sont victimes. Nous exhortons le Conseil des droits de l'homme à enquêter sur ces abus. Nous appelons aussi nos homologues dirigeants du monde à prêter plus attention à ces actes inhumains et conjointement avec l'Indonésie, à faire cesser toutes les formes de violence et à trouver un terrain d'entente avec les ressortissants pour faciliter la mise en place d'un processus qui leur permettra d'exprimer librement leur choix.
Tengo el honor de dar la bienvenida al excelentísimo señor Muhammad Yusuf Kala, vicepresidente de la República de Indonesia, a quien invito a dirigirse a la Asamblea General.
Mr. President, to create peaceful, sustainable, and equitable societies, all countries must respect international law and principles of the UN, including respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity. In this connection, Indonesia strongly deplores the matter of one country to support even worse become part of the separatist movement. This act of hostility has no place in the UN system, an act which clearly in violation of UN principles. For far too long, Indonesia has chosen to build a friendly relation with this particular country, including in showing our solidarity and sympathy during difficult times. But when such hostile acts continue, Indonesia will not remain silent. Indonesia will not let any country undermine its territorial integrity. Like my other sovereign country, Indonesia will firmly defend its territorial integrity. I repeat, will firmly defend its territorial integrity.
Madam President, it is important that administering powers, the known self-government territories, and all relevant organizations honor their commitments made under the Charter of the 1960 Declaration on the Granting of Independence to colonial countries and peoples. To that end, and in accordance with the 1998 Nouméa Accord, Solomon Islands welcomes the referendum to be held in New Caledonia on the 4th of November 2018 that is both free and fair. Solomon Islands reaffirms that human rights principles are universal, indivisible, interrelated, and must be treated in a fair manner. All states have the moral duty and responsibility to uphold, respect, promote human rights, and where necessary, take preventive, protective, and punitive measures against human rights abuses and violations. Solomon Islands recognizes and respects Indonesia's sovereignty over its territorial boundaries. My government commits to work with the government of Indonesia on areas of mutual interest, including human rights concerns in Papua and West Papua.
And I now call on the representative of Indonesia.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My delegation takes the floor to exercise Indonesia's right of reply to the statement made by Vanuatu. Indonesia condemns the slander and baseless comments that the delegation of Vanuatu made in its statement this morning when referring to the Indonesian provinces of Papua and West Papua. These accusations are not only undermining the sanctity of friendly relation among nations and non-interference, but also violating the principle of the UN Charter. Mr. President, for many years, Vanuatu has tried to sell the following fraudulent ideas: that there are flagrant, systematic, and widespread human rights violations, negligence of civil, political, social, economic, and cultural rights, and that the people in these provinces are racially different and thus do not belong in Indonesia. This country argues that based on these factors injected into their minds by criminal individuals, that the two provinces have to be debated at the United Nations. We fail to understand the motive behind Vanuatu's intention in supporting a group of people who have struck terror and mayhem in so many occasions, creating fatalities and sadness to innocent families of their own communities. Indonesia categorically rejects any efforts to disturb peace, stability, and growth enjoyed by the people of Papua and West Papua, and would like to state the following points. First, accusing Indonesia of committing gross violation of human rights and inhuman acts is a serious and unacceptable accusation. No country in this world is free from human rights or development challenges. But accusing others of human rights violation, while one has so many problems of its own, is like calling the pot calling the kettle black. Vanuatu, which gave the portrayal of championing the human rights, is only party to a few of the international human rights instruments. Indonesia, on the other hand, is party to 8 out of the 9 instruments. Interestingly, Vanuatu has not ratified the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, while Indonesia has done so way, way back. Indonesia is a diverse and multicultural nation, comprising of more than hundreds of ethnic groups, thousands of tribes, and hundreds of local languages. We neither define ourselves on the basis of racial purity, nor are we a single ethnic group. We reject racial discrimination in Indonesia. Now, if we follow the irresponsible premise and logic of Vanuatu, then the world will consist of tens of thousands of countries, noting the multitude of race and ethnicity in the world. Now, just to remind Vanuatu that the customary international law deriving from the Montevideo Convention of 1933 on the rights and duties of state clearly stipulated 4 elements that define a country, namely, first, population, second, territory, thirdly, government, and fourthly, capacity to enter relation with other states. Never, I repeat, never has been stated that ethnic or race as an underlying reason for the right to be a country. Secondly, let me provide Vanuatu with a short lesson about our history. Almost 50 years ago, through this very same forum, on this very same room, with resolution coming from this very same august chamber, we, all of us in this United Nation, have decided the final status of Papua as rightful and legitimate part of Indonesia. The General Assembly Resolution 2504 of 1969, recognizing the successful implementation of the Act of Free Choice, was adopted with no single country voted against the said resolution. The people of Papua reaffirms their place and unity with Indonesia. In other words, what Vanuatu is propagating is nothing more than an outrageous challenge to the decision of the United Nations, the decision of the then 128 members of the United Nations almost half a century ago. Mr. President, Indonesia and every responsible members of the United Nations upholds the principle of its charter dearly. For that reason, Vanuatu's support to individuals with separatist agenda against Indonesia undeniably violates the principle of the UN Charter and thus must be denounced. Without shame, since last year, Vanuatu incorporated those individuals into their official members of its delegation. Such actions are tantamount to acts of hostility and have no place in the UN system. I repeat, no place. A country that supports separatists and dismemberment of any country should not sit in a gathering of law-abiding and decent family of nations. Enough is enough. We couldn't care less what the motives are, but we know for sure that Indonesia will firmly and strongly defend its sovereignty, its territorial integrity, and its dignity. Let that be known. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Indonesia.